the night of Venus, the soul of Andromeda, aka comma motherfucking sense. And one of my primary messages here to all of you is understand what's going on in between realms. Understand the middle path. Understand that extremes meet. And so, understand the duality that exists in everything. When you understand that, when you understand you can't escape this polarity, you understand that you can sit in the middle and watch them both play out, rather than getting trapped into singularity and only viewing things from one lens. See, my message here as common sense, the soul of Andromeda and the night of Venus, is to remind you that even though you have two eyes, you have one perspective. And the point is that is an illusion. That's the trickery. That's the Maya. Somehow, some way you have multiple ways to perceive, yet the actual perception that you collect from that is single. So when you understand that in reality, in that single perspective holds multiple perspectives. But you won't even get there if you don't actually have a perspective to hold in the first place, if you don't actually have a perspective to dive deep into to see all of the perspectives in. So you got to have that perspective. You got to have that sense, you know what I'm saying? That inner sense, common sense. But none of that is neither here or there. But actually it kind of is here. Because that's getting into the whole idea of not getting lost into just one side of things. And we as a collective, we do that all the time. By default, we're going to do that. You know, getting lost into the polarity, getting lost into the dual sense. Seeing things as light and dark. You know what I'm saying? Good versus bad. Heroic versus evil. Angelic versus demonic. Masculine versus feminine. Logic versus illogic. The illogical, the irrational, rations, reasoning versus non-reasoning, instinct versus intuition, thinking versus feeling. We will continue to just play the line between those, not understanding that we are the ones that's in between those. You have both of these things. Everything has both of these things. It is never just one, even though you might see it as so. And the thing is that it plays into your life too. Your life circumstances, all the things that brought you here today, your past, your turmoils, your traumas, all of that shit. For good or bad, you don't have to see it as just good or bad. You know what I'm saying? You can look at the perspective as a whole. Look at the experience as a whole. Look at that overall perspective and just value that. Because understand that there's beauty in all of it. There's ugliness in all of it. And when you start talking about your life, you have beautiful days, you have ugly days. And I'm not talking about your physical appearance. I'm talking about the ups and downs, the roller coasters that we experience. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of us is as if we stay at the bottom of that roller coaster. Like our whole lives, for some of us, it's as if that roller coaster never goes up. Or whenever it does go up, it goes down faster than it went up. And we spend so much time at the bottom part of that roller coaster. And eventually, you know, we get back to that spot at the top. But because we went through so much shit at the bottom, we have so much time spent at the bottom, and we know it's coming again, that we project ourselves there before it even happens. And we don't even enjoy the ride no more. You know what I'm saying? And now it's just a fucking roller coaster taking ourselves out of the experience rather than taking us into the experience that we wanted to create, having fun, living it up. You understand the allegory I'm saying? And for those people that feel like that, you know what I'm saying? I need you to understand it's important to value your past, for positive or negative. Understand where you come from. Never forget where you come from. If you come from a dark place and now you've gotten to a place where you can forget all about it, don't forget all about it. And I know there's things in our situation, there's situations in our lives that are so traumatic that we want to forget them. We sometimes our brain forgets them by default. We don't even have a choice to remember them. We just forget them automatically. And that's where it's important to try and dive deep into those experiences and seek out those memories. Because all of those experiences shaped you. All of those experiences brought you here to where you are right now. And if you want to understand you better, you need to understand where you came from. You need to understand your roots. You need to understand the shit that shaped you. I'm going to go deeper into that. I'm about to just kill this roach real fast. Shit good. Animal cookies. What y'all know about that animal cookies? So that, hold on. Let me not jump the gun. All right. My bad for the little commercial break. Now back to what I'm saying. Sometimes we get put into situations that's so fucking traumatic by default, we automatically forget. But when you dive into those experiences and you seek out those memories, you can now have a greater understanding about yourself. And now, you know, you're doing shadow work. Now you're being able to change your characteristics and change those dark aspects and raise them to a lighter frequency. Now you're not going to be placed into so many situations as being looked at as the bad one or the negative one. You see what I'm saying? Because now you have the ability to understand why you are the way you are and how you got here. Because once you understand the past, you have a greater understanding of the future. You know? And that's getting into the mysticism of history repeats itself. You know? Time is cyclical. It just goes in a circle, a spiral, if you will. So if you understand the past, if you understand what has come, you will understand the future. You will understand what will come. And even more so, when you understand where you've been and you already have a direction of where you're trying to get to, right? When you understand those two exact points, you now have a way to get there. You now have the direction. You see what I'm trying to say? It's all the same shit. So you need to understand your past, regardless of how negative, how positive, how blissful, how traumatic, whatever the case may be. Understand your roots. Know where you've come from. And this is talking more about understanding your roots and understanding the dirt, the dirty shit, which we all had to go through. See, in my last video, I talked about star seeds, right? And star seeds are basically all of us, you know? Star seeds being basically seeds of stars. Seeds being the smallest representation of something that holds the potential to be that. AKA, the seed of a star is something that holds the potential to become a full star. If you will, it's a baby, the smallest form of a baby star. We're all baby stars. You know what I'm saying? Whether you want to look at this from the Big Bang Theory aspect, as all of us being accumulation of stardust and star matter, or if you want to look at this from a spiritual aspect, as all of us being actual celestial bodies traveling through space right now. Each and every single one of us are star seeds. Now, what does it take to grow a seed? What does it take to make that seed grow into its full potential? You need the dirt. You need the soil. You need some type of dark incubator. You see what I'm saying? As if we look in space. It is in space. It is in that the dark matter, that dark realm in which stars are birthed and formulated. As we look here on the planet, in our actual reality, it is in the soil, it is in the dirt, the darkness in which the plants and the fruits that give us life are birthed and fertilized and given nutrients. You understand what I'm saying? Drink your water. So you see the importance of the soil. You see the importance of the dirt. And that's why I say, regardless of all the dirty shit you might have to gone through in your past, don't look down on that. Don't devalue that. As a matter of fact, you need to value all of that. You understand? We all got to get some dirt on our names in order to actually shake some hands and get some business done here in this reality. And I know that sounds bad. Even that sounds, evil. But I told you before, let's not get trapped into this. Let's not get, lost into this moral code that they put on us. And I talked all about the moral codes too. Let's not get trapped into the moral code. The yin and yang. Let's see both of it. The positive and the negative in the dirt that we had to do. Or the dirt that was put on us. The dirt that we had to grow from and spring out of. You dig what I'm saying? Or for some of us, the dirt that we continue to have to do. Don't devalue that. Because if you're still doing dirt right now, or whatever the case may be, and I'll get into ways that we're doing dirt, because there's multiple ways to do it, but if you're doing the dirt right now, in so many ways, that's you doing shadow work. That's you doing the work of the unseen or doing the work in the dark realms. And really, that is a very powerful and creative thing to do. That is creativity. That is expression. That is your gift here as a human being. Or should I say a spiritual being, having a human experience as well as many other experiences. That's your gift here. Staying into that dark source to bring something out of it, aka the shadow work. Now the thing is that there's many ways to do it, like I said. And because there's many ways to do it, there's many ways to do it wrong. You did. Now in terms of doing the dirty work, we all got to do some dirty work in order to get ahead. Whether we're talking about business and we're trying to structure some way to get some financial gain for ourselves, you got to do some dirty work. Or whether we're talking about relationships and we're trying to find a way to connect to another being that's not us, someone outside of ourselves, you got to do some dirty work. Or if we're talking about even actually having fun, just doing you, living out your expressions, living out your creations, just creativity in general. You got to do some dirty work to do that shit. You see what I'm saying? Like, you got to do it. Like, there's no escaping it. Now, before I start going deeper into it, let me explain to you. Let me show you how it gets done. Let me tell you what dirty work is. Long story short, dirty work is the things that you don't want to do, or the things that other people don't want to do. It's the work that people want to keep their hands clean from, and they stand back from, you know what I'm saying? Because they look at it as being dirty. And we'll get into that word dirty too, because there's so many connotations around that. But it's all the same thing. Like, people don't want to do this work because they look at it as being dirty. So that in and of itself is an example of the dirty work. Now that plays out in so many realms and realities, so many dimensions, right? Let's start off lower and then go higher. Physically speaking, you can look at the dirty work as literally the trash people of your community. You know what I'm saying? The trash men and the trash women. You know what I'm saying? The garbage company, what they call it? Municipal department, however you say that word. Those people, the janitors and shit, the street cleaners, all those people, they're literally doing the dirty work. And not even just literally in terms of cleaning things up and doing the dirty work, but also they're doing the things that majority of us don't want to do. No one grows up, not no one, but 9 out of 10 people grow up not believing they're going to grow up to be a fucking garbage man. You know what I'm saying? That's not a common dream to have. No one dreams about that for real. No one dreams about fucking running their own trash company or becoming a janitor or having to clean it business. Like, no one thinks about that shit for real. That's the thing people don't want to do. Matter of fact, that is a chore to us. We don't want to do these things so much. We've now created a connotation around that. It's a chore. These things are chores. See what I'm saying? That's the dirty work. But that's a lower frequency, lower dimension example. If we go higher, right? The dirty work being the things that people don't want to do. Well, also, the dirty work is the things that people don't see. And before I even start going deeper into, or should I say higher into these realms and giving you the examples of the dirty work, right? Let's just understand the dirt in general. We already know it's the soil. We already know it's the fertilizer. We already know it's the nutrients. We already know is where your roots are located. See what I'm saying? So we need to understand, what does that mean for real? What comes with that? Darkness comes with that. Because the moment you plant something, the moment you bury something in dirt, it's now covered in darkness. So dirt is equivalent to darkness, metaphysically speaking. But also, what else comes with it? Pressure. Pressure. You put a seed in dirt, it has to go through pressure in order to grow. You see what I'm saying? You bury something else, regardless, it's experiencing pressure being stacked on top of it. That's what's happening with the dirt. And we all, the concrete, as we walk on, yeah, it's stone or whatever the case may be, but it's dirt. It's just dirt from being compressed and pressurized from so much. You see what I'm saying? And compartmentalized. So we understand that pressure comes with the dirt. Pressure comes with the soil. What else? Well, it doesn't have to come with the dirt, but it's seen with the dirt. And this is what's seen with growing the shit in the dirt. And that is the water. You see what I'm saying? You have to actually water that soil, water that seed. That's how you fertilize it. That's how you not neutralize it, but that's how you give it nutrients. That's how you give it the ability to grow, by watering it, watering the dirt. So with that being said, that can be a lot of times where the seed experiences situations of floods, or should I say, extreme emotions. That roller coaster that I was speaking of, right? The waves of the waters. We might not see that happening in the dirt, but the seeds and the microorganisms are experiencing that when, every time it's raining, every time it's getting water placed onto it. You see what I'm saying? So that comes with the dirt as well, believe it or not. The opposite of it, because, the black and white, as I said before, the divine masculine, divine feminine, is in everything. Yin and yang is in everything. So if dirt is in everything, the water, being the opposite of that, will be in everything too. And just in dirt alone, you have both of those things occurring. But that's getting deeper into the whole idea of the polarities that exist. But still, those are the things that come with the dirt. Pressure, darkness, rainy situations, or floody situations, however you might want to look at it. All of that comes with the dirt. So now that we understand that, we can now use this understanding even more as we go on. Oh yeah, another thing too is residue. That's an important one. That's an important one. Residue comes with the dirt. The moment you put anything in the dirt and you take it back out, you will have the dirt still on that thing. You cannot just go into it and come out clean. There is no just simple washing away. You dig what I'm saying? So that's getting into the idea of the interconnectedness and the idea of you can't escape the actual reality that's happening. You can't escape where you come from. You can't escape the shit that built you, that formulated you. The residue. You understand? This is how shit gets dirty. You ever wonder how shit gets dusty? Like how do things get dusty? Where does dust come from? You see what I'm saying? It's all the same shit, man. That's going into what I was saying before with the whole polarity thing, with the dust thing. It's the same thing. Like there's dust in the air, just like there's water in the soil. If you sit long enough, you'll see that soil actually start to cave in or become more liquid in certain areas under certain circumstances, right? And just like with the air, the dust will settle. Just like the water will settle, the dust will settle. And why did I bring all that up? To be honest, the point is that like when you start seeing these things, you start seeing these elements, you'll see the polarity in all of it. You know what I'm saying? But back to what I was saying before with the whole dust being in the air and shit, right? Just that example alone. Just in that example alone, you will see the residue that's playing out, that's happening with the dust, right? Because the dust will be equivalent to the dirt, the dust and the dirt, whereas the water will be equivalent to the air. You see what I'm trying to say? And these are the divine masculine and divine feminine again playing out in different frequencies. Now, the divine masculine leaves residue, and they both leave residue in their own ways. But the divine masculine leaves residue in a way where you can see it more. Again, see it. You have a physical sense for it. Again, another divine masculine representation. Whereas the internal sense being a divine feminine. But I can keep going on and on. The point is, though, as the dust starts to settle, shit gets dusty. As the dust starts to settle in the air. You know, I think I said that backwards, actually. Yeah, as the dust settles in the air, shit starts to get dusty. Now, as dirt starts to settle in the water gets dirty. Yeah. Thing is, though, the reason I'm looking like that is because I just came to a breakthrough right there. Is because the thing is, like, the water is the water's in the dirt. And I said before that the water is what's settling, but no, it's the dirt that's settling. Yeah, I had that backwards. But anyway, I hope you see that little mysticism right there. Back to what I was saying though, right? Because all of that is just giving you the idea of residue that comes from the dirt, that comes from the dust. These are just all the things that come from the dirt in general. Now, using that example, using those understandings, let's go back into what I was saying before. Now, we already know a literal example of the dirty work here in this reality, here in this dimension, but let's look at it some more. And before I even start going higher, let's go a little bit deeper into the lower frequencies right now. Let's go higher in the lower frequencies right now. It doesn't even have to be literally doing the dirty work here. Just looking at the example of doing things that other people don't want to do. You can end up doing the dirty work in terms of actually doing dark shit. You know what I'm saying? Again, equivalating, I don't even know if that's a word, but we're making it a word now. Equivalating dirt to darkness, then that means doing the dirty work, you're doing dark shit. Doing dark work. Again, work that no one else sees or wants to see. You know? Now that can play out in so many realms right there. Because now you might be doing not just any types of dark shit, but let's get into those connotations that we cling to here. Now you're doing secretive and manipulative shit. Now that's dirty work, right? If you want to continue to cling onto these connotations, we gotta look at it that way. That's what it is. That's what we said it is. So look at it that way. See the dirty work. Think about all the shit that get people locked up. Think about all the crimes that people commit for financial gain and small personal interest. Think about all that shit. All that shit's dirty work. You know, regardless of if it's being done for the greater good or not, because that's not my argument right now. I'm just talking about what dirty work is. You did. If you out here, you slanging something, no matter what it is you slanging, whether it's weed or crack, you doing dirty work. Whether you doing it for the state, for the feds, you doing it for legal means, or you doing it for the streets, you doing it for illegal means, the black market, it doesn't matter. You doing dirty work. You dig what I'm saying? In the sense that think about how you got those resources. Think about what it takes to continue to get those resources. Think about what it takes to find those customers and to continue to have those customers. Think about what it takes to create your own brand, something that stands out from everyone else. Think about all the shit that it takes to do that shit. Somewhere down the line, you're going to have to deal with some secrets, some form of manipulating things. Even if it's just manipulating a seed and manipulating a pot full of soil to grow this into a plant to sell. You're still manipulating something that ain't where you get that seed from. That ain't your seed. You ain't just create that out of nothing. As we manipulate this planet continuously to build buildings and build our own shit on there. You see what I'm saying? And again, I'm the Knight of Venus. I'm not here talking about right or wrong per se. There's a right or wrong individually, but I'm not talking about it objectively. I'm just letting you know we're all doing dirty work. But yeah, that's one example of doing some dirty work in a lower frequency, right? Some secretive shit, some manipulative shit. Now you can go extreme into that to where you're actually doing some very secretive, manipulative shit that's so fucking dirty that you ain't gonna do nothing but experience a dirty ass life and dirty ass circumstances. You know, so if you getting into some shit like that, don't be confused on where this shit is coming from. And this is what religions were trying to talk about when they say baptism and cleanse yourself and shit like that. Because we all dirty. We all doing this shit. You know, we all being in our secretive and manipulative natures in the first place. Just by being human. Just by being animals. So when you know that, you now have the awareness and the ability to go cleanse yourself every now and again. Just as you do that in reality, and we have physical representations of that, of showers and shit. You know, I know I'll be going on tangents, but it'd be so much spiritual shit that all correlates. You dig what I'm saying? Clean your motherfucking ass. Wash your motherfucking ass, dirty ass motherfucker. Otherwise, don't be confused when shit stink. You did. And that's not to say that shit ain't gonna stink here and there, regardless of how much you washing your ass. Because you can wash your ass all goddamn day. Every goddamn day. At the end of the day, you still got a shit though. You dig what I'm saying? Metaphysically speaking, it don't matter how much cleansing you're doing, you're still going to have to do some dirty work regardless. It's all part of the game. You dig? That's why it's important not to get caught into the moral codes, because it's part of the game, the dirty work. You know? So don't get caught into one. Just do that pendulum. Go do some dirty work. Clean yourself. You know? Boom, boom. Don't sit here and think you can just sit here and do that and it's not going to be traumatic. Don't sit here and think you just sit here and do that and it's not going to be traumatic. Trust me. Okay? This is that reality where we have to experience both. Just remember to wash your ass. That's all. I don't know how y'all mamas ain't tell y'all this shit already. And some of y'all who are clean, y'all so clean because you already know that. No matter how much you wash your ass, you still gonna stink. But be okay with that. Have some humility. You know what I'm saying? Just understand. Just understand, man. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, have some humility. Understand you're a fucking human when I say that. That's what I'm saying. Have some humility. I'm not saying be humble and be all, less than thou or whatever the fuck. I'm talking about understand that you're a human. Understand your humanity. You dig? You're still an animal. I know you're a spirit. I know you have these great, grandiose experiences, but at the end of the day, you're still having a human, animalistic experience. Don't ever try to deny that. Now, but you can't deny that, honestly. If anything, you should not be denying spirituality, because that's the part that could get denied. That's the part that gets denied. And that's the part that's your roots. Where the fuck you think you came from? But yeah, I can talk on tangents for days. Back to what I'm saying, though, for real. Another example of us doing a dirty work, right? In a higher example, a higher frequency, a higher dimensional dirty work is just the shadow work, like I mentioned before. Now, understanding shadow work is understanding how to go deeper into your dirt, understanding your roots, which is what I was talking about at the beginning of this video. This is now we're coming to the understanding of actual shadow work. That's what this whole video is basically about. Okay. And of course, I'll go deeper into it where I'll really start talking about this shit. But I just want to bring you to the surface. The shadow work is now understanding where you've come from. Shadow work is understanding your experiences, for positive or negative. More specifically, though, using this example of shadows, is understanding your dark experiences. Now, that could be negative experiences, that could be traumatic experiences. That's also experiences that are unseen. In other words, sometimes these are memories that we have forgotten. Memories that we have swept under the rug and wish to have forgotten. Sometimes these are memories that aren't ours, but have been instilled from us. This is getting into generational curses, and this is getting into fixing the bloodline, fixing that lineage, and it can be harder to do that when you don't know your roots and you don't know the family tree. But it's still ways to do it. That deserves a video for its own. But just scratching the surface on that, right? That's getting to the idea of understanding where your parents went wrong, or where their parents went wrong, or their negative experiences. Or it doesn't even have to be those specifically negative and wrong, just those dark experiences. Memories they might have shared with you, but no one else. You know what I'm saying? Stories that they might have shared with you, but not too many others. All of this is getting into the idea of shadow work. And shadow work, the main purpose of shadow work is basically, as I was saying before, I was giving you that analogy at the beginning of the video, where once you understand the past, you can now move forward into the future more freely, or more creatively, or at least with a little bit more awareness, a little bit more control. You know what I'm saying? Like, the past holds the keys. You dig? The past holds the keys to your future. Shadow work is all about going and get those keys. Going to get those understandings. Going to go and get those insights to further you onto your mission, onto your journey. What is an insight? You know what I'm saying? I'm Dorian with 3 eyes. You know what I'm saying? I come with insight, inspiration, and individuality every single time you see me. Insight being sight that is coming from in. Sight from the internal world. Not the outlook, but the insight. That is to say, understanding your internal perspectives on things, which comes from, a lot of the times, your past experiences, aka your memories, the things that shaped you, your roots. Do you see it? Do you understand how this is all coming out? In order to get some insight for your life, in order to get some greater insight to help you in this world, you got to go into the past, go into your memories, go into those past experiences, go into the things that shaped you, go into the traumas, go into the dirt. Go into the dirt. Go into the dirty shit that you don't want to look at. Don't deny that shit. It's time to stop devaluing that shit. Because that's why, that's why you're here watching this video right now. This is a sign that it's time to stop devaluing that shit. There was something in that. There was a key there. And it might be tiny, that you really gotta do some searching for it. But there was a key there that is gonna help you forward. And it's in you because it is you. It's shaped. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? This is why I'm saying go inward. You go inside, you figure that shit out. You figure out why you are the way you are, why you make the decisions that you make, why you value the things that you value, why you have the motivations that you do. Why do you have, not even why do you have, why do you express, why do you experience these emotions in the way that you do? Why do you experience these thoughts in the way that you do? Where are these thoughts and emotions coming from? Where are they coming from? Because you are not these thoughts and emotions. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So you have to go inside. You have to go inward and see where the shit is coming from. Go in and observe. You did. And once you do that, you know what I'm saying? Now you're actually doing the shadow work. And that's not even all the shadow work, because it takes more than just going in and seeing your traumas. It takes more than just seeing what made you you. It goes more than seeing those memories that you might have forgot. You actually have to now act on those memories. Hold on, I don't know if that shit was still recording. Someone was calling me, but I was saying though, it takes more than just seeing that shit. It takes more than just seeing your traumas and the negative experiences or those memories that you've forgotten to consider it shadow work. Because anyone can say, oh yeah, this happened to me, or yeah, oh yeah, whoa, 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 or oh yeah, I remember this happened, or this has happened, so this is why I'm like this. Well, that don't do shit. That don't do shit but give you more reasons to why you doing this. That's just giving you justifications. You did? So it takes more than just the awareness. Now, once you have the awareness, you got to do some shit with that. Okay, now once you see why you are the way you are, now once you see where these things are coming from, once you see that shit, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to redirect these things now? Now you see where these thoughts are coming from because it happened from this trauma. Are you now going to redirect these thoughts? Because you already know where it's coming from and you know it's not you and you know it's not yours. Now that you see that these emotions are not yours, now that you see where these emotions are coming from, and that you see that they're coming from these past memories that you may have forgotten about, what are you going to do with them? Are you going to redirect those emotions, or are you just going to sit in those emotions? Like, do you understand? This is shadow work. So it takes action with that awareness. Do you see what I'm saying? That's shadow work. It takes action with that awareness of all of those, dirty moments. And if you're continuously doing dirty work right now, because it doesn't have to be just things of the past, when a lot of the times that's what it is, but that doesn't have to be just the case. If you're continuously doing dirty work, which we all are, the thing about it is that when you have the awareness while you're doing the dirty work, well, this, all right, I don't want to go too deep into this because I might go into a whole bunch of rants in this one, but this is getting to understanding about cleansing yourself, right? And cleaning yourself after the shadows, you know what I'm saying? Because once you go into the shadows, they can cling on to you. They can linger there. This is what makes doing shadow work not easy. Because you can't expect to just go into the shadows, to just jump back into the light and not have that shadow following you in some way, shape, or form, or stuck to you in some. This is getting into what I was talking about of residual energy. The darkness, that dark shit, it tends to have a residual aspect to it, And I equated it to the feminine energy, but it's always played out through a masculine aspect in a way, aka you can always see this darkness. This isn't a darkness where it's a darkness where usually you can't see the darkness. Darkness represents something you can't see, but when you can see that darkness, it's a masculine representation of that darkness. You understand what I'm saying? So the residual energy, even though it's coming from the darkness, the feminine is masculine. That's a trick. So that being said, right, going into the shadows, a lot of times you're trying to go into these memories to try and fix where you are today. You try and fix your perspective and shit like that. But when you go into these memories, you might get stuck into these memories. You might remember some shit you forgot about, and now you remember it and you can't stop thinking about it. Or whatever the case may be, or some shit where some stories, some shit that your parents told you or your grandparents, whatever case, right? Generational curse shit, some shit that they said that now that shapes your whole perspective on shit, and now you can't get out of that. And still, there's some type of residual energy from the dirtiness, from the muckery, from the shadows, more or less. And it is these types of things. It is that residual energy which instills fear into us, that stops us from doing the dirty work. You know what I'm saying? No one wants to do the dirty work because they'll get dirty. People don't want to go and do the shadow work because they know they're going to have to face their own darkness. They're going to have to face their own shadows. You see what I'm saying? So that's understanding the residual energy, you know? So just be careful with all of this shit. Be careful with the dirty work because you don't want to go too extreme with it, because you'll be so dirty, you'll be hard to clean. You dig what I'm saying? You get so fucking dirty, you won't even be dirty no more. You'll be filthy now. You know what I'm saying? You get beyond that, you'll be putrid. But extremes meet. And once you get to a putrid stage, you can't get no dirtier than that. The only stage beyond that is purification. You know what I'm saying? That's getting to the point you get so damn dirty you clean. That's a whole different conversation that's far out there. That's some far out knowledge that I haven't heard talked about yet. So I'll wait to talk about that. But that's one thing I will circle back on. You know, but you don't want to go there. You don't want to get that far. You want to go that extreme because that's a hard thing to do. Like the more extreme you go, the more pressure is getting built. And pressure makes diamonds or it bursts pipes, and you might end up blowing your ass the fuck away. Trying too motherfucking hard with this shit. You see what I'm saying? So don't do it. You end up getting blown away, or you blow yourself the fuck away. Trying to go too extreme in these natures. So don't get too dirty. But yeah, like one way to avoid doing that, right? Because I said I was gonna do a whole video, but just a brief way. One way to even avoid getting to that level of the putrid, disgusting dirtiness, right? And it's not even to say that that's good or bad, but I'm just saying it gets hard to do that. You know what I'm saying? You can do it. There's been people that have done it before, but it's very, very difficult. You see what I'm saying? And it requires a lot of energy of you. It requires all of your energy, actually. But yeah, to avoid even doing that, right? To make things easier, to lighten our load here, because shit is already hard enough. The way to avoid having to clean yourself so much like that is to have an awareness when you're doing the dirty work. You know, because when you have the awareness when you're doing the dirty work, you know what I'm saying? Now you already need the awareness to do when you're doing the dirty work and actually to bring it out. You know what I'm saying? Like that's part of the shadow work. I said that. But what I'm talking about is more so like having awareness of the awareness. Like it gets meta. It gets very beyond. Like you have to have a greater awareness per se. You know, like you have to know it's beyond just you. You have to look at it like you have to look at it as if, damn, I'm trying to find a way I can explain it to you because I do this shit so easily every single day. I damn near don't have words for it, but I'm giving it to you right now. Like all of this shit is coming off top. You know what I'm saying? Everything I'm saying. So like, just bear with me. But like, you gotta think about it like this, man. The true shadow work that many people in the spiritual community talk about. The shadow work that I was just explaining, where you're going deeper into your own experiences and deeper into your own traits and characters and trying to transform that, right? You doing that on a personal level, that type of shadow work usually requires you to be alone or be isolated or some form of solitude, where you can actually do shadow work with others, but it has to be in a form of solitude, a safe space, right? You can't just do this out and about in the public. Where there's ways to do it, there's anything's possible. You can do it, but like 9 times out of 10, you want to be in a personal setting, right? When you're doing this type of shadow work. But like I said, there's many types of shadow work, and the other type of shadow work is just doing the work that other people don't see or don't want to see or don't want to do in the physical world. You know what I'm saying? And the way you stay clean in that type of shadow work, the lower frequencies types of shadow work, the more physical type of shadow work, right? In order to stay more clean or have to take less cleansing routines and rituals and shit like that, in order to do that, right, all it takes is the awareness when you're doing these dirty things. You know what I'm saying? Have the spiritual awareness to, protect yourself. Protect yourself from the dirt. Cover your body. Cover your steps. You know what I'm saying? Cover your hands. Like, these things play a role. And I'm talking about metaphysically speaking, but metaphysically, physically though, like even still, like, I hope you get what I'm saying. Like, if you're doing a dirty work, you gotta protect yourself from the dirt, because it's going to follow you. It's going to follow you. So just take the right precautions. And that being said, you're still going to have to clean. This is just to clean yourself less. Like, this is not to take so many fucking, esoteric showers per se. Which you're still going to have to do though. But it just comes to having the awareness when you're doing the dirty work. Because when you're doing the shadow work from the spiritual sense, right? When you're doing that personal shadow work, when you're doing the shadow work of the higher natures, when you're actually trying to change your personal characteristics and your personal experiences and perspectives and all that good shit. When you're doing that type of shadow work, right? You're aware that that's what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? That's why you're doing it. To be aware. And then have an action and change your actions. Like, that's why you're doing it. So that by default comes with it. The only thing is that when you're doing the other forms of shadow work or the other forms of dirty work, a lot of times you aren't aware. And the roles get reversed, and that's where it gets tricky. And that's where we take the wrong steps and make mistakes and shit like that. Because now we're doing it in a way of being unaware. You understand what I'm saying? And it is in the doing of the dirty work. It is in the doing of excuse me. I'm trying to get my thoughts out here, but I see it all in my head, like as visions. But like, as we're doing the shadow work in an unconscious and unaware state, we will bring ghosts with us. We will be possessed. You see what I'm saying? Stuck, trapped into those mind states and emotions that was given to us by our experiences and by stories given to us from others. When we're doing the dirty work in the physical world, and we're unaware that that's what we're doing when we're doing it. We, a lot of times, will uh, uh, manifest more examples of dirty situations where now we have to clean some shit up after ourselves because we wasn't being aware of what we was doing when we was doing it. Now we got some responsibilities we didn't necessarily ask for. Or now we got to clean up our name for some shit that we didn't necessarily want to clean up for because we wasn't being aware when we was doing it. And now we got to redefine our character, redefine, you know what I'm saying? Now we got to change our identity or whatever the case may be. All because we was doing the dirty work unaware. Or shit get too extreme, you got putrid with this shit, and now you finna get eradicated. See what I'm saying? I talked about that in the moral code video too. You go so too motherfucking hard this shit, now you end up dead or in jail. Because you wasn't being aware with this motherfucking, and even still, when you start going that hard, like that hard, because I know my message is to come hard with this shit. But I'd never say go extreme. You never hear me say that. When you start going extreme with it like that, it's like, I don't know, man. I'm just telling you, like, that's, you don't want to do that. Like it's tough to deal with. Where it's like, regardless, it still ends up damn near leading to eradication. Not all the time, but depending on your message and depending on the path you're on, it is the case. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say don't go too extreme with certain shit, because it'll lead to eradication regardless. But whatever, you know, you do you. You do you. You know what I'm saying? I'm standing in the middle ground. And as I stand in the middle ground, I got the ability to say that you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. You did. I'm not for either or. Do what you want. But do know this. If you don't want to be such a dirty ass motherfucker, man, start to be more conscious in your actions. Stop just doing shit from your root chakra. Stop just doing shit for the sake of having something under your feet. You dig what I'm saying? Stop just doing shit for the sake of trying to get a crown on your head, but you really just doing it for survival. You know what I'm saying? You really just doing it because you really in survival mode. You're not living in abundance for real, for real. Like, this shit get deep for real, man. Yeah, this is the real shadow work. To protect yourself. You know? You gotta protect yourself in all aspects, in all dimensions. In the spiritual dimension and in the physical dimension. You know, this is the other aspect of spiritual warfare. This is the other aspect of shadow work. You know, because shadow work is giving you that ability to protect yourself moving forward. Those keys that I was speaking of, those keys are keys of protection. But this is where it starts getting even deeper, but I'm not even gonna go deep. That's just letting you know I know what the fuck I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit get, if you hip to it, yeah. Like, shout out to my people that's already understanding the shit that I'm saying. You know, because a lot of concepts that I'm bringing here, they're not new concepts. They're kind of advanced, you know. But at the same time, they are new, because I've never heard some of this shit be said before, or at least said the way that I've said it. But that being said, if you already understand this shit, shout out to you. And if you just now starting to come to these understandings, stick with me. You know, I know sometimes I might sound like I'm just talking in circles, or my words might go over your head, but if you just stick with me and watch these videos over, and you'll see these videos, as I keep putting these videos out, and I have multiple videos, you'll see the overall message, and you'll see it all makes sense. you'll get the message. You know what I'm saying? It'll be your turn to be the warrior in your spiritual warfare, and time to start this shit for real. Wake the fuck up now. Not no fake woke bullshit neither. Like, really, let's bring the world that we really want to live in here now. Time is now. But in order to do all that, as I was saying before, you got to do that shadow work. You got to do that dirty work. In order to get ahead, you got to do that dirty work. In order to evolve, in order for us to progress as a human collective, as a overall collective in general, all of us here as sentient beings, we got to do the dirty work. You dig what I'm saying? We got to do dirty work. That's the only way to get ahead. And when we do that, we have to protect ourselves. Because this shit gets tricky. This shit gets scary. This shit gets dirty. You know. But when we do that, also understand that we have to do it from a sense of, keyword, sense. We have to do this from a sense of awareness. When we do these things, when we do this shadow work, when we do these dirty works of sorts, do it from the sake of consciousness. Because that is what we're all evolving at the end of the day, right? Our consciousness. So if that's what the agenda is, to evolve our consciousness, why would you do anything outside of that? That doesn't make sense. At that point, you're not evolving consciousness, you're evolving unconsciousness. Common fucking sense. So, again, doing these dirty works and these things and shit like that, do it consciously.